Good afternoon, this is Susan. I want to talk to you today about some of the things we should be kept in our cupboards at all times. One of them is oatmeal. You can do so much with that besides breakfast and putting in meatloaf or adding to anything that you need more nutrition for. Do you know you can even make milk with oats? I haven't tried it myself, but I ran across the recipe yesterday, and I don't quite know how it's going to work, but I will be doing it tomorrow or tonight, and I'll share with you what happens tomorrow. Another thing you make is you make bread, you make cakes, you make cookies. You can make bread, cookies, cakes, a lot of things with oatmeal, and you can even make granola. Now, either as a snack or as a breakfast. I have a good granola recipe, and I will share that with you. I also have a good oatmeal bread recipe, an old bread recipe that was used probably many, many years ago. I got it from a lady who was 80 years old at the time I got it, and she's been gone for a long, long time. And she was a very good cook. She had a lot of good recipes, and I loved reading recipes from her because I knew they were always good. I will post that recipe down later and I will post a granola recipe that I use all the time. In fact, I will post two of them that I always use at the same time. Next thing I want to talk about is powdered milk. Now, I like the Nido milk, which is a whole milk powdered thing. I have several of those in storage, but I also got the non-fat dried milk. If you have that milk, any kind of milk, you can make evaporated milk. You can make sweetened condensed milk. You can make a cheese sauce. You can do all kinds of things with milk, that powdered milk. And I will be giving you recipes for them in the next few days. Excuse me. Another thing that we should have is rice. Rice should be a staple. Now, I didn't grow up eating much rice. The only rice I ever ate, basically, when I was younger, was a glorified rice that my grandma made all the time. And I have been trying to get that recipe, or get close to that recipe, I should say, for several years. That is one of the recipes my brother asked for when he received my cookbook. He wanted to know if I had that recipe in there, and I said no, and he said, well, he hadn't been able to recreate it, and he'd never eaten anything like that before. So he asked me if I would create it. So I've been trying to recreate that thing for, I think, about 2 years right now. One thing I know is she used whipped cream. They didn't have Cool Whip, and they didn't have Dream Whip, and they didn't have all that in that time. So it has to be a whipped cream. That I know. But I ain't quite figured out how she handles the rice. I know there was pineapple in it. I am wondering right now if she didn't use the pineapple juice to cook the rice. That'll be my next project. I'll check that out and see if that happens. But rice, you can use that for anything. I like it as a rice pudding with raisins. But you've got so many hot dishes that you can make with rice, and I've been looking them up. So I'll be posting them later on. All these things that you've keep in your pantry, or you should be keeping in your pantry, because food shortages are here. I don't have them in my town yet, or in my state yet. But if they're hidden in the bigger cities, like they're saying, it'll come down to me probably later. As for all the fashions, fads, and trends, we usually can wait a year before it gets down to South Dakota. And like I said, we're a rural state. We're a conservative state. So if it finally gets to us, it's really bad. We do have a drought going on, a very severe drought. It's been 3-4 years now. We get a little rain, but not enough rain to help us much. That means the crops aren't going in, or the crops aren't growing the way they should. They won't get the yield they should. That means the farmers don't have feed for their cattle or their livestock. And, yeah, if they don't have the feed, they can't grow them. My suggestion, and as for the meat disappearing, and I understand it's really disappearing in the large cities, is to find a farmer or find a producer, talk to your butcher. Make sure you have a network of people you can talk to about that. Or do like I have, cut back on my meat, eat vegetables. I hope you have a garden going. At least even an inside garden would help you. Gardens and containers will help. All those kind of things will help with the food shortage that we've got. And right now, I don't believe it's going to get better. I think we're in for it for a long time, at least for a year. Everything's going to depend on this year, basically, the crops. The food, we're on a year behind basis, is what we should say. What they produced last year is what we're eating this year. And so on and so on. That's why there's going to be a shortage of corn. The corn was destroyed in some megastorms that we had up here in the Midwest last year. So corn's going to be short. Vegetables, I don't know if they'll be so short now, but they definitely will become short next year, because I understand the farmers, California farmers, aren't planting the crops because they've got a drought out there. So, it's going to be tough for at least a couple of years anyway. So there, I'm going to leave you. I will post the bread recipe down below. I don't know if I have many more chats for a while. I just might, and then give you the recipes. But you will have several recipes coming up for the next few days. And after I do that, after I get those recipes out and so forth, I think I'll start my dehydration challenge. Several months ago, I was challenged by a gentleman, and he challenged me to eat my dehydrated foods for a week. He must know something I don't know, so we'll see what happens, okay? And I will do it all on YouTube, so you can see the results myself. This would be meals that I put together myself from what I have dehydrated, and we'll see what happens. By the way, if you like instant oatmeal, I have a recipe for that too. And it's a lot cheaper to do it that way than it is to buy your instant oatmeal in the stores. So I'll share that one with you later too. And it's a very basic recipe. Thank you. Have a good day. And we'll see you later. Bye-bye.